questions about anything, don't be afraid to send me an email. E-quizzes are due at the end of each section that we're in. So once we're done with all the Excels, all the Excel e-quizzes should be done. And then we'll go on to the hardest part of the course, will be Access. Okay, so what other formatting are we doing here? In A13 to K13, what are they doing? They are centering those. Okay, yeah, there's a few things here. So A3 to K3, we did the total styles. There's A3 to K3. We did the, actually, is that total style? No, that's heading style, isn't it? There's heading style. And then A14 to A16, we made bold. Make sure we make these bold as well. Remember how you can do that? Select through them and just click Control B or the little bold guy right there. Okay, so we got the total cell styles, heading cell style. Let's see what else they have for us. Oh, that's right. We haven't formatted our numbers in accounting format. It's ugly for an accountant. We want the decimal points to line up. And look how horribly the decimal points are lining up there. So we're going to also make, and one of the last things we did was the date format. Now, I select through these. And if the date format is not exactly this, remember how we did this, we can go look first here to see, is there a format for date that is the way I would like it? We have short date and long date are my only two choices here. So it's not exactly what I'm looking for. Although short is close to what I'm looking for, it's not what they want. They want 2 digits in the year, not the 1-digit year, because then they don't line up so nicely. And remember what we do. If we want a different format than what's available in the standard menu, where do we go? There's 2 places to go. Way down to the bottom here, More. Or, if I know I need to go to the extra dialog anyway, I can go right over to here. This takes me to my number formatting, and I can choose date right there. And then choose the 2-digit year, which is down about the 5th line. Double-clicking puts it in the 2-digit year, month, date. So remember those special dialogue. And actually, have you noticed that any of these, they actually bring up the same dialogue? It just brings it to a different tab in that Format Cells dialogue. So get used to that Format Cells dialogue. That is, you could think of that as the advanced features of formatting. And that Format Cells dialog lets you modify all sorts of things that may not be listed in your menu. And there's tons of things there. Explore, but don't worry about having to memorize all of those. But if there's ever a direction given that it's not clear how to do it over here, bring up your Format Cells dialog. Okay, so we got our 2-digit date. And now let's see what else we need to do. They want us now to start putting things in the correct alignment. So we want our dependent numbers here to be aligned center. So I drag through those and then center align by clicking that little icon right there. Hovering over it shows me there is not a shortcut key for centering. Wish there were. And that centers those numbers. And clicking anywhere else turns off the selection range. And now we're going to be formatting a few other things here. We want E4 all the way out to H4 to be in accounting number format. E4 all the way out to H4. Because these represent hours and dollars, actually, I don't think we want E4 in accounting number format, but they're asking for that. It's interesting. No, sorry, not E4, not D. I was actually selecting D4. E4 out to H4. And let's see, they have us also, we want also put, this is a number of dollars, so we also want to put that in accounting format. How do I get this selected without unselecting these? Remember the special key? Control. If it's not connected, but I do want to select that too, then I put that. Now they're all selected, and I can tell Excel, okay, all those should be in accounting number format. Adds the $sign in front of it. But we don't want to put the $sign everywhere. We're going to now format all of these, selecting through those, Control select through all of these, and those we're going to put in normal, just comma format without the $sign in front of it. Comma style, we call that, right there. Don't panic if you see the hashtags. Remember what you can do? Just double click on the border and it'll auto fit it. And sometimes they come and go. As you zoom in and out, sometimes hashtags appear, pound signs. Other times, they're fine. So if you ever see them, just remember that just means it's too small to see them. If I manually adjust the column, you'll see it turn into, oh, sorry, I can't display that. I don't have enough room. Double click here, and now you have room. Now it's starting to look a little nicer. Decimal points are lining up. And down in the totals, we also want the totals to be in accounting format. So I'm going to select through these numbers. That is a dollar figure. Control, drag through there, and to there, and put those accounting style. And again, this guy didn't fit. Double click to fit him again. Starting to look a little nicer. This guy here is percent, so we don't put dollars in front of that. We only want dollars where it's referring to dollars. Oh, and I made a mistake here. This isn't dollars. Turn off accounting format. Put that in normal comma format. Now we're talking. Dollars only where we're talking about dollars. Is that making sense? We're not changing the numbers, just the formatting of how they're displayed. And you notice the style doesn't change when I apply a specific detail of the formatting. That total style with the red outlines did not change. Alright, now they want us to learn a little bit more about the style format. Again, E14 all the way out to H16, that's these numbers down here. So E14 all the way out to H16, we want to format these numbers and not forget these numbers here that they have to do with the highest, lowest, average. So control drag through those. Now we're going to just learn how we can apply more specific formatting to these. So we're going to come up here and apply a currency style here. But we're also going down into a little bit more detail here. We're going to go down into the number format dialog and adjust that so if it ever would go negative, the format that has it in parentheses when it's negative would show up. Now that's not super critical here because we don't have any negative numbers. But sometimes in accounting, rather than have a negative sign, accountants like to see parentheses. I'm never sure why they like to do that. Maybe it makes it more clear. Sometimes even like it to change the font color when it goes negative, because negative numbers in accounting are often bad. In this case, it adjusted how the currency appears with a floating $sign in front of it. See how the $sign is not left aligned? Now it's pinned right up against the number because of that specific currency format in that selection. Number, currency, and if it were negative, show that. And showing that it's going to be led by a dollar symbol. Again, just giving you a little practice in getting into that formatting cells dialog. Now it's starting to look a little bit more professional. And now we've got to fix up a few more things here in this column here. See this tax percent? This is all crazy like. Those are percentages, but look, they're not lined up nicely. Some are lots of decimals, some are just a few. We want those to be displayed as though they were just a normal percent with 2 digits. Guess where we go for that? Up here in the number format ribbon. And there's our little percent figure. Let's see what happens when we click on that. It takes it to 0-digit percent number, but we want to increase the number of decimals. So we come up here to the increase decimal icon right there. Yep. Nope. Tax percent is meaningless for an average, so they decided let's not even show it because it's not a helpful number. So no, we can, if you have it there, you can just delete it. But see how selecting through, putting in percent format, notice it says 25 when it mathematically it actually is 0.25. But because we're telling it display it as a percent, it does that for us. And remember, I can increase and decrease a decimal with this little button right here. And notice it does round up. Watch what the 25 changes to a 25.7 as I go down to 1 decimal. It's rounding it for me in the formatting of it. Remember, it's not changing the actual mathematical number. It's changing how it's displayed on the page. So if I mathematically multiply that, I'm actually mathematically multiplying by the complete full whatever that number is in memory. Looking a little better now. Percentages are percentages. If I want the column to fit better now, remember, just double click on the edge and it fits it a little narrower. If I want a little bit more room, I can manually adjust to give it a little bit more space there. Now we come to a more complex concept here. Oh, we need our hours work to be in comma format. I see that already. Let's put the hours work into comma format. And now comes a very important concept. We want to have numbers, we want to highlight those that have worked more than 72 hours. We could manually go and change them to this one highlight in red, but we want to let Excel do that work. So this is how we do it. To get Excel to actually, in these selected cells, apply some formatting. Remember, the first step is to select the cells where you're going to apply the conditional formatting. Then I come up to here, the conditional formatting cell or icon, and I choose new rule. We're going to make a new rule. Even though we do have some rules already built in, we're going to learn how to build a new rule completely from scratch, just so we're not dependent on only what they have available to us. Although they do have quite a few nice ones available to us, we want to learn how to build a new rule from scratch. So conditional formatting, new rule. And that pops up this little dialog. And the second choice is there, we're going to choose cells that contain a particular value. Cells that contain. So what that means is, look at the cell that I'm in and decide what to color it based on what's in it. So cell value is what it says here. And instead of the word between, we're going to change that to greater than. And we're going to just type a number 72 right here. Okay, so we've established what determines our formatting. And now in this section here, the format button, this determines what we will do in formatting of that when that condition turns out to be true. So condition is all here. Now it's what cell to apply or what colors to apply. So I click formatting, and now I decide how to format that. And I think they want us to make it, what do they want to make it? White font with red background? No, they're going to make it a white font with blue fill. Okay, so we come back. Color, the font, color, instead of automatic, change it to white. And the fill, that's the fourth tab in, change the fill to be this color blue. And sadly, it doesn't show you white font on blue fill, but click OK. If I hover over it, it says, it's not saying. I was hoping if I hovered over it, would shout out the color. It's the second from the right. Your colors are different looking? You may have chosen a different color set. But don't worry about it if it's close. Yes, James. Yeah, white font and blue fill. So here in the preview, because it's white on white, it shows blank. And the fill, it's showing just blue. Now let's see if I click OK, what happens now? Now it shows you what it will look like. That font feels a little small, but I guess we'll go with it. Now we'll click OK, and now we'll see what happens. It automatically highlights any numbers here with that format specified, with blue background and white font. Let's go through those steps again just for practice. I'm going to undo this because this is something that's easy. It's not so obvious what to do. You're given a task to apply a formatting. The task is above 72, highlight it with white font and blue background. Select the cells, conditional formatting, new rule, cells that contain, value greater than, type in the number 72 that I was given as a specification, then click the format, the fill, background blue, the font, color white. And OK, and OK, and it applies. You will be given on the final, you'll be given a task like color all positive numbers green and color all negative numbers in red using conditional formatting. And it'll be telling you what particular cells to color that way. So that's an easy one to forget just because we don't do it that often. But very powerful, especially if you're looking at lots of numbers and you want to highlight where are we losing money or where are we running short of inventory. It'll automatically highlight those, and you can take action based on that. In this case, we want to check to see why is Fred working 80 hours way beyond the 72, paying him too much overtime. Maybe he needs a helper. Or maybe we appreciate it and we're going to reward him. So that formatting shows up. And there's in the book there's a discussion about the various other formattings available. I've already adjusted column widths and heights. You can see we've got one column here. It's got a few problems here on the left. We can't read out the full name. Let's just try the double click. Look at that. Let's try the double click on column B, see if it fits it nicely. I always go with that first and then adjust it by hand if I want a little better padding around it. Dependency, we're not spelling it out completely. I'm going to double click on that border. There we go, that looks good. Hourly pay rate. And remember, if I just want to do this all at once, I can select through all the cells, double click, and it'll auto-fit everything. And Control A, double click, will auto-fit every column in the entire spreadsheet. And remember the one trick, if I have them all selected and I manually adjust one, it adjusts them all to be that same width because they're all selected. So that's where it can be a little scary. Adjusting them all. Control Z is your friend. So it's not looking too bad now. Let's see if they have us do, I don't remember if they're having us do a chart on this one. Adjusted the column, so it's looking nice. And there's a few rows here that we're going to adjust. We want to offset the total row a bit, I think, to give it a little more offset from the chart. I can just grab the bottom of that cell and pull it down. Gives me a little bit of space there after the total. And this is already adjusted. We're going to narrow this one a bit. Let's see what happens if we narrow this cell a bit. See how let's see if we can auto adjust that row height. See if that auto adjusts when I double click here. Look at that. Automatically adjusted that, and it looks to me like we are actually centering the text in those headers. So let me select through all of those, not the very first one. It looks like we're centering all except the first column. No, we are. I guess we are centering them all. Let me adjust them all. Control. We're centering the text on all those. There we go. I hadn't noticed that. I missed that step, but I see on page 94 that those are centered. Hourly rate, I want a little bit more space there. They're feeling like they're a little packed and a little too high. I'm going to manually adjust that a little bit more. Give me a little more padding there. I like that a little better. Now, I have a problem here. I don't like that. I think we're going to be still doing a little bit of adjusting of those. Let's see what we do. I think since we're only looking out 2 decimals, I think we should only see 2 decimals everywhere. Oh, it looks like they didn't fix that. Next thing they do is do a spell check everywhere. I guess we'll leave that since they haven't asked us to adjust that. Although that kind of looks ugly to me. We're getting towards the end now, doing a spell check. It looks like at some point they did set this to be 2 decimals. Oh, it looks like all of these are in comma format. I missed that. These all should be in comma format, meaning automatically jump down to 2 decimals. There we go. Put those in comma format. I'm surprised they didn't have us put that in comma format. They're leaving that alone. Oh, but these are centered. I forgot to center these as well. Horizontally centered. All right, now we're at the point where we're just about done, but just to make sure that we haven't made some blatant mistakes making us look stupid, let's run a spell check. Remember, that's over under the review ribbon and our ABC spelling icon. No matter where I am, if it goes to the end and has more to do, it'll ask me, do I want to begin back at the end? And we come across proper names. We're going to keep them. I'm going to ignore that once. Going to ignore that one. There we go. Typically, the spell checker trips on proper names. Otherwise, everything looks good. Let's see if they have anything else for us to do after the spell check. And remember, if I want to print this, I can print it to my PDF and mail it without them being able to actually edit this as an Excel. Most of the times, though, if you're sending it to someone, they may want to open it Excel. In the printing, you can choose your layout in your margins. And typically, you print it out in landscape format. So they go through printing of it. I'll leave that up to you. You don't need to send me a print, but you're welcome to print out things. And I think that's it. But before finishing up, since we're kind of done early on this, let's practice a little bit. What would make sense to produce a pie chart? Say I want to just practice my pie chart. What numbers does it make sense that I might want to compare in a pie chart type style? I'm thinking of one thing here. Let's see if you can do this without me instructing you, and then I'll show you. Can you create a pie chart of everyone's hours worked? Make a pie chart. I want their names on their piece of the pie and the number of hours that they've worked. Kind of give a comparison of who's working a lot and who's working a little in pie chart format. Just a little practice here because it will be on the test. I'll give you a minute, see if you can figure that out, and then I'll walk you through that practice of that. It's great to go back and practice the things, especially those that maybe you haven't done before or it's not so obvious, like that conditional formatting. I'm going to do that again next time. Remember what you have to do. You have to select the names that are going to go in your pie chart, and then control select what numbers you want to control the slice of the pie. So here it is. If it were hours, I would control select through those. If I said, hey, give me the pie chart of their pay rate, well, then I would be control selecting those. You can only have one column select to represent your slice of the pie. If you accidentally select more, or if it's not exactly the same number, it just goes wacky. So the names, that'll be the name of my slices, the size of the slice, and then insert pie chart and choose the style. And you're welcome to explore the styles. I choose one pie chart, but then I can always go back and choose my favorite style of the available 3D pie charts available. And I like the ones that show them on the slice. These I find completely useless, because how do you recognize what color is what? In these teeny weeny squares, you can't really tell what color that is to know which is Susan Villanova's slice of the pie. So I don't know why they didn't make these little squares a little bigger, for goodness sake. So that's why I like this one. Puts the name right next to their color and their name in the color. But I'm not going to be fussy as long as you know how to create the pie. And of course, if you're doing this in real life, never leave chart titles blank or the generic title. This would be pay rate. No, not pay rate, hours work comparison. Remember, pie charts are not much useful for actual analysis of the numbers, therefore only for illustration of the size of the pie. We see here from the pie side, we don't see as much of a difference. So it's not useful. It's quicker. I can see, oh yeah, Fred worked a lot harder or a lot longer. I can compare the numbers. Since they're fairly close, let's see here. We see Samuel's. Does his slice of the pie look a lot smaller? Well, because it's 3D, look, Samuel's doesn't look that small, even though it is. So if I actually wanted to emphasize and be able to view the difference, I probably wouldn't want a 3D. Let's see, can I go back to a non-3D chart? Select, there we go, charts, change start type, and I can change it back to a 2D chart, and same with that. Now it's a little more obvious. His is a smaller slice of the pie. So sometimes 3D will hide significant differences. Had a question over there? Well, let's see here. I'm thinking that just might be a style difference. You can choose your style. Let's see. Some show percent of the slice. Yeah, there's a percent. It just depends on your style. If you wanted to get into details, you can go in here into the design, or is it the formatting? there are details of the slide format that I can, is that the quick layout? Oh, here I can select the data. There's lots of details I can get into, but we don't expect you to know this for this chart. But this used to be the way we had to do it with these little uglier, less user-friendly multiple dialogues. Now it's just a matter of choosing your numbers, inserting it, and it comes out just beautifully. And remember, if I want to put this on a different page, right-click, move, and you can put it on a separate page. Depends on how big your chart is, how big you want your printout to be. Typically, I'll zoom out, control, roll my mouse down. Typically, pie charts will be on another part of the page or over here to the side. And when I print out, I can decide how that goes on the page. Now let's, just for practice, we'll make this our last thing to do since we're doing pretty well today. Let's practice that conditional formatting. What should we do here? Let's choose, how about this? Let's highlight everybody's whose net pay is above $1,000. Highlight it in green. Make a light green background. Highlight everyone whose net pay is above 1,000 with a light green background. I would select through the numbers that I want to apply the formatting to. Then conditional formatting. And let's see, is there there's a greater than, but let's practice the new rule, building our own from scratch. Cells that contain greater than 1,000. There's my condition. Number is greater than 1,000. Now the formatting was light green background. So the format button, fill, that determines my background. And I can choose a light green. That's not green. There's the light green. I don't like those colors. Let me try more colors. I don't like the greens available. I'll make that a green over there. Ugly, bright green. Okay. So this is part 2, module 2, complete. Save that and upload. Now, if you don't have the conditional formatting, that was just practice, so you don't have to go to your, if you've already done through the book, this was just practice. I'm leaving it in there just so I remember we did a little extra practice. But give yourself, kind of think to yourself, how did we do that? Selecting the numbers for a pie or a chart. Remember, it's titles and numbers to go with them. And remember, on slices of pies or pie charts, you don't graph the totals because that throws our pie completely off. You only want to compare with the specific columns. All right, so we'll finish there. I'll let you finish early today, being a Monday, right? Getting started. Give you a little reward for being so good. Good obedient students. Remember to save it, upload it to Schoology. Yes. Sure. Schoology messed up on me. Didn't take it suddenly. No, I guess it's alright. Alright, what's going on? let it go. We knew it was going to happen eventually. And unsatisfied.